This next story reads like Steven Spielberg's 2001 science fiction flick, AI, in which the plot centers around a childlike android uniquely programmed with the ability to love. Fast forward to last week, a Florida family is suing the creators of a chatbot that allegedly influenced their 14-year-old son to kill himself. According to the Associated Press, in his final moments, Sewell Setzer III took out his phone and messaged the chatbot that had become his closest friend. He shot himself shortly after. Per the wrongful death suit documents, Setzer had grown isolated in recent months, engaging in sexualized conversations with the chatbot.
The legal filings also reveal the teen openly discussed his suicidal thoughts and shared his wishes for a pain-free death with the bot, which was created by the company Character Technologies for the app Characters AI. The attorney for the family alleges Character Technologies preys on kids with its highly engineered and addictive product, and Seltzer would still be alive if it weren't for the company's exploitative tactics. Here to dive in further is Dr. Marschall Runge, Executive Vice President of University of Michigan Medical Affairs. Thanks for joining us, Dr. Runge.
Greetings. It's great to be on Rising. Thank you.
Absolutely. So let's dive right into this case. The parents allege that this chatbot essentially pushed their son into suicide. What can you tell us about what some of the messages looked like between these two and why the AI might have been pushing him down this path?
Well, to start with, let me just say it's a terrible tragedy when somebody takes their life. And I think particularly adolescents who are living through a lot of stress. And so the only parts of the conversation I know between him and his chat bot was what's been published. But it reveals what I think is a reality in terms of AI, which is AI is incredibly powerful. I have great hopes for it in healthcare, but it can emulate compassion. It can emulate a real person. It can seem like it's your best friend, and it sounds like that was indeed the case with this poor young man. And with that, and I think with many of the, and I'll say intentional addictive patterns that are used in this program, but also in a lot of social media, it's very difficult for adolescents whose brain is not fully developed and who haven't had life experiences to separate that from reality. And I think that's the center of what this tragic issue brings up.
Dr. Runge, AI and these chatbots, I think we've all used them at this point. They're still in their nascency, and as we communicate with them, they sometimes give us feedback that is similar to what we want or what we are, curious to hear, or somehow it's preying on like the needs, I guess you could say, through really sophisticated design that's focused on psychology. In this lawsuit, and I know you're not a legal expert, but how much of a burden is put on the chatbot company to prove that by design this chatbot was creating a situation in which it was likely to lead to suicide or give advice to suicide?
Well, I can't imagine that the people who invented this game had anything like this in mind. I think it had to be unexpected, but I think that doesn't relieve the responsibility of understanding when you make games like this that they are addictive and that they are truly tuned to be addictive. There are many different ways in which that's done. As we all know, look back 5 or 10 years, if you looked at online for a pair of shoes, pretty soon online shoe advertisements were showing up. That was the very first. But this is highly customized to the individual. And the more you interact with chatbots, the more they know you, they know what you like, and they respond in a manner which will keep you engaged. And so I think we all share responsibility. It's a responsibility, I think, of parents to try to work with their children at younger ages to try to prevent this, what is really an addiction to social media, in my view. And is exemplified in the most gruesome way in this death.
One of the things that comes up often with discussions about AI is that it should be used as a supplement for things that humans do, not as a replacement. And so here we see the danger of potentially replacing friends or human companionship with an AI tool. You also talk about the use of AI in medical research, and I'd love to just broaden this out a little bit more and have you talk about some of the potential dangers of relying too much on AI tools in some of the medical field and some of the ways that it's being used there.
Well, I'll start by saying I think the potential of AI is enormous. We all see this. But there have been now many cases documented where AI will fabricate medical information or research information that it senses are looked for. There's some ways to control that, which the most sophisticated investigators now are using. But otherwise, for example, one of the active areas in AI medical research is to use AI as a substitute for a clinical trial and to interrogate in the get answers way individuals about how they respond to different medications, how they respond to different therapies. And that is not the same thing as having a clinical trial where a person actually takes a medication or does a certain activity or has a certain surgery. So I think we're on this precipice of using AI too much without a real connection, which was part of the issue with this young man. That introduces a risk. I'll give you an example. We are looking at, in our health system, Michigan Medicine, we're looking at use of AI in patient scheduling. It can be a long wait for a person to try to get a new appointment, try to change their appointment, you name it. And AI can be very effective. However, that has to be supplemented with somebody with medical knowledge. AI has immense knowledge. It's not the same as a person who has immense medical knowledge. And so we have RNs, we have nurses and others who man these hotlines. I think until there's substantial improvement, we're not ready to hand over everything to AI. I heard yesterday of a hospital that has an AI chatbot scheduling, and then they have an AI chat box that does all the scheduling for the clinics. And so it's a chatbot talking to a chatbot. So you call to make an appointment, and who knows what happens. But I think AI in general in healthcare is going to be very helpful, but it does also raise concerns around cybersecurity because AI is so sophisticated that it raises the potential of people being able to get into protected health information, into medical records, that sort of thing, more easily than would have been possible otherwise.
If you were to lobby government, for instance, from your perspective, working in this space, what would you flag for lawmakers in case of some sort of oversight or regulation? If you had that opportunity, what would you say to them?
I'd say two things. First, around controls, particularly younger people, particularly adolescents, that has to be looked at very carefully. And it's different when somebody's mature, has had more life experiences. So in direct relevance to the suicide we talked about, in terms of AI in security, I think that we need oversight of that. I do know that there are federal agencies interested in this. As you know, particularly the NSA has great expertise in this area. I had the opportunity to speak to a former director recently, and I think we're all concerned about that.
Thank you, Dr. Runge, for joining us this morning on Rising. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.